Hello everybody, this is the Hidden Historian, Heather Leah, and I am out here in the mountains today, here in Asheville, taking a look at this abandoned bridge. It's called Helen's Bridge. Some of you may have heard of it. So we're out here today taking a look at it while I'm exploring all these abandoned places, getting photos, and doing research for my upcoming book on hidden history across North Carolina. I have never live streamed on this particular page before, so I'm just really giving it a try to see how it'll go, and I'm also going to test live streaming on my personal Facebook as well and kind of see how it compares. But I wanted to give it a try today and at least see how it would work on this page. So because of the hurricane, you can see there actually are some fallen trees and a little bit more foliage and things around the bridge, sticks that are not normally here. So forgive me if I trip over a few things, but I wanted to take a look at the bridge today. It's in really good shape. I'm glad that it's still here and it's doing okay. This thing is about 100 years old and still standing strong. But if you go to the other side of it, I'll show you, there are some trees that have fallen on this bridge. So here's the story of this bridge. You gotta watch out, this is a busy area. All right, so here's the story of Helen's Bridge for those of you who don't know, or who maybe have heard of the bridge but aren't sure what the tale is. All right, so there's a ghost story surrounding this bridge. Oh, there's an echo under here. So this bridge was built about 100 years ago. And just briefly, what this bridge is known for is a famous ghost story. Now, the ghost story is connected to some real historic events and some which are made up. Yeah, you can see like that tree had not fallen on it when I was here before. In fact, last time I was here, there were people up on that bridge, which you're not supposed to go up there, but there is a little pathway that'll take you up there. All right, so this bridge was built back in the early 1900s. When it was pretty popular, if you had the money, to build a castle on top of a mountain. Several mountains in western North Carolina do have castles on top of them. Biltmore Estate technically is a castle, as well as Castle Zealandia, which is the castle that's on top of this mountain, which we're on Beaucatcher Mountain. So this was originally built as a stagecoach bridge. So if you needed to get to the castle easily, this bridge is what would take you there. Now this bridge still does lead to the castle, but now there's no easy way up to the bridge. You certainly cannot get a stagecoach up there or drive across it. Now any traffic comes under the bridge. And I will tell you, this bridge is chilling. When you just drive up on it, it certainly does catch your eye and really tells a story just to look at it. You can think the stonework, let's take a closer look at it if I can zoom in. That stonework is about a century old. I think it's a little over a century old. So you're looking at something that's been here just a very long time and has really stood the test of time. I was really holding my breath and hoping that this bridge would hold out and be okay during the storm. So I am going to be traveling and visiting lots of abandoned places and ghost towns and doing live streams from those locations. I'm going to these locations to get photos and video and to do research as part of my upcoming book, which will take you to really in-depth stories about these places. Yesterday I went to the Road to Nowhere, which is a tunnel that goes through a mountain and essentially just stops, but it was originally built to be able to take people of Swain County back to their homesteads and to the cemeteries of their loved ones, but the government never finished building that road. So now it's just this abandoned tunnel that leads nowhere. And there are ghost towns underneath the lake that is far below that tunnel. So today we're here at Helen's Bridge. Okay, so the legend of the bridge. The history is that it's an old stagecoach bridge, and it's still there today. But here's the legend, and this has a whole ghost story around it. Apparently at night, if you were to drive through here or stop and sit here in your car, you would hear the wails of a woman named Helen who tragically died The castle caught fire. Now this again is a legend. This is not historically accurate. The castle caught fire, according to the legend, and Helen was an employee at the castle. She worked in the kitchen. So while she was in the kitchen working, apparently her young daughter was in the library. And when the fire started, the library went up quick because it was all books and paper, and the flames just absolutely tore through the library, killing her young daughter. Helen, according to the legend, absolutely devastated and feeling like it was her fault because she couldn't reach her daughter, ran out here onto the bridge, and depending on the legend you hear, she either jumped from the bridge and died on the ground below, or jumped from the bridge and hung herself. Either way, according to legend, if you come here, especially at night, you'll hear the banshee wails of Helen echoing through the woods. And some people claim, I'll show you, that if you park under the bridge, you might see Helen's shadow. You can see her perhaps walking across the bridge, screaming in grief for her children. Now, as part of the book, I want to research a lot more about that legend and find out, is there any truth to it? Was there a fire around that time? Was there ever anyone named Helen who worked at the castle, Zealandia? Were there any recorded deaths during that time period in this area? So I think it's really interesting to study the legends of the ghost stories and try to figure out, well, what kind of truth is there to them? Are they connected to history, or is it just purely a story? And if it's just a story, where did that story originate? Who came up with it? But the bridge itself is still here. You can see why it would collect lots of haunted legends and lore, because it does look quite eerie, but very beautiful. And the real history of the bridge is that it's still a really cool history. It's a stagecoach bridge that's over a century old. Now, we cannot visit the castle, but the castle is on the other side of the bridge. So if you were to get up there and cross the bridge, you can't, but if you were to, especially now you can't because it's been damaged by the hurricane, but if you were to climb up there and try to cross the bridge, then you would see the castle on the other side, Castle Zealandia, and that has its own entire history surrounding it. I'm going to go ahead and flip things around. Thank you for joining me. I don't want to go too much into the history, because that's all going to be in the book, but I wanted to go live from some of these locations as I visit them to get pictures and do interviews. If you think it's really interesting, then when the book comes out, you take a look. But I'll also be trying to create content around these places as I visit. Again, this was my first time ever going live from this page, so I'm going to try to go live here more often if you guys like that. If you want me to go live, I'll be exploring other places. Tomorrow we're going to be at a ghost town. It's a fully standing mill town, but it's just crumbling and falling apart. But it's a ghost town, which there's a lot left. And we'll walk around and I'll take you on a live tour through that ghost town tomorrow. And then we've also got an old NASCAR speedway that I'm going to explore that's still standing. It still has the cars, many old beautiful cemeteries with really cool histories behind them. Lots of hidden history in our state. And I'll see you next time for more. Thank you for exploring Helen's Bridge with me today. Bye, everyone.